Good evening. I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Conversations with Selwyn. Thank you for joining us this evening. Those of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you. Thank you very much, actually. Just a moment to explain to you the reason or the goal of CWS. CWS is about having conversations with people about their journeys and how are they using their gifts and talents to help others. I believe that it is important for us to tell our stories. I believe each and every one of us has a story. And so I'm always looking for someone who, or people who are doing extraordinary things or doing things extraordinarily well. I especially like when someone has defied the odds, regardless of your color, religion, creed. What is most important is that you, as a human being, come on here and tell us your story. And as I'm saying this to you, I think of the word fear. I think of two things, fear and freedom. The question I ask is, are you free? And if you say yes, do you feel free? And fear, I have a quote that I use. It says, fear not what fear whispers to you, fear your obedience to it. And I am here to tell you that I have met some very interesting people on CWS, which I'm confident to say that they could not have gotten where they are without much sacrifice and overcoming fear. Tonight, there's a son of our soil. His name is Ernie Trelfall, who is a producer and so on. I'll introduce him to you when on the other side of the break. But I want you to think very seriously about the importance of overcoming your fear. You know, before I take the break, I just want to mention something to you that tonight's show might not have happened had I not been obedient, had I not listened to this same gentleman. Last night or yesterday evening, I was setting up the video, doing the lighting checks and sound, and he said to me, "The site is down." And I said, "But that doesn't make any sense. I'm seeing it." And he said, "But Selwyn, I tried it. I tried to go to the link that you posted with Steele's recording, and there's nothing there." I said, "But I'm seeing it up, Orny. That doesn't make sense." And he was very calm, very amicable, and he said, "Well, give it a check." What I did not realize is that what I was looking at was for those of you who are technical, the cache version of the website, or the website stored in memory. Anyway, I took his advice, I took his word, I checked it out and realized that the site was completely down. I went to bed 2 o'clock this morning trying to figure this out. Got up early this morning. Needless to say, I worked it out, had to do over the whole site. The message in this exercise, or the message in this interaction I had with Ernie, is how important it is to listen and how important it is to check things out. None of us knows everything. And so it is very important at times for us to listen and be obedient. So, I'll take a break and I'll introduce you to Ernie on the other side.
My baby, I love you. While she lays sleeping, I stay out late at night and play my
I preach alongside the man can steal. Now here is my question. Right, and I really need an answer. Is this the new world that you order? I really wanna know if it's so things ain't better. No better than before. Should we work with the good and the bad and give thanks for every little thing that we have? No one listens even though we complain, so that's why we call on your name. Is this the new world that you order? I really wanna know if it's so things ain't better. No better than before. Jah, we know you love us and we know that you care. We don't want to be pushy, but we need you around here. One kind of got no soul, so they acting a fool. Flooding on the streets could have full of a hole. But I want stick of lightning with a thunderball. Could have caused wicked Babylon no ways to fall. They all turn away from your glory. Everywhere you walk, another person I hold. But once they steal corruption in the system. You see, I'm sure it's not the first time that you've heard them sound kissing. People are so far, some try a little thing, but at the end of it all, I see innocent fall while the wicked them standing still. Is this the new world that you order? I really wanna know if it's so things ain't better. No better than before. You say work and pray and you will get your reward. We're still waiting. Things aren't over, Brian, and it's here as I am. Still not making. You say work and pray and you will get the reward. We're still waiting. Things aren't over, Brian, and it's here as I am. Still not making. Working very hard as a survivor. We find every trick in a the book like MacGyver. But I know things safe can go on so forever. So make them never walk cast them out with your power. Aye, now we know you love us and we know that you care. We don't want to be pushy, but we need you around here. One kind of got no soul, so they acting a fool. Blood in the streets could have full up a pole. But I want stick a lightning with a thunderball. Would have caused wicked Babylon ways to fall. They all turn away from your glory. Everywhere you walk, another person I worry. Still it's a new world that you order. I really wanna know, cause if it's so, things ain't better. No better than before. Is this a new world that you order? I really wanna know, cause if it's so, things ain't better. No better than before. This is the new world that you order.
I am back. I'm Selwyn Collins, your host of CWS Conversations with Selwyn. The gentleman next to me is Ernie Trelfall. Ernie, good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening, listeners, people who tuning in. Welcome.
Ernie, I just want to say this for the record that you told me you don't like the camera and you're shy about the camera. So for you taking the time off tonight to come on here is very commendable, and thank you.
My pleasure, always, always.
Ernie, I saw something on your Skype, a quote, John 3:19, and it starts off with "Light came into the world." What does that mean to you?
Repeat that. You're kind of
Sorry,
rumbling up.
it John 3:19 on your Skype, and it begins with "Light is coming to the world." I didn't bother with the rest of it, but light is coming to the world. What does that mean to you?
Like I'm getting a little feedback when you talk. I'm not hearing you
All
clearly.
right, sorry, but can you hear me better now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I saw this quote on your Skype, John 3:19, and I copied it because I found it very interesting. It starts off with John, light is coming to the world, and actually the question I was going to ask you, do you feel that your music or the music you produce is likened on to a light coming into the world?
Oh, definitely. I guess the question you're asking is about me and my music and where it has brought me. Yes, ever since I've known myself as a kid, this is the thing I tend to be attracted to more. I always want to hit some little tin cup in the backyard, or you know, hit some kind of drum or drum set. Or when I go to my Sunday school, I want to shake the shack shack. So I was always attracted to that as a youngster.
I want to do this. I should have done this before, but I like to switch things around a little bit. Let me just read your bio a bit. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Are you having problems hearing me?
Well, there's a fuzz in the voice when you're talking.
Okay, what about now? Is this much better?
Um,
Much
try
better?
it.
Much better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because it's important that you hear me properly. So, Ernie Trelfall is currently CEO of Reflex Music Studio as producer engineer. His music career started back in Guyana as a panist, for which he represented his school band Rumvelt Multilateral to numerous titles. He later joined top band Bitco Invaders, where he gained international music exposure while visiting countries like Nigeria, Barbados, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Pan Homeland Trinidad, where he performed
Yes.
for different festivals. In 1985, he decided to pursue formal music training and studied at University of Guyana. And in 1986, he took music exams. Ernie holds a grade 6 and 8 music theory certificate from the Associated Board of the Royal Schools of Music, London. After migrating to Canada in 92, he tackled electronic music and played synthesizer, keyboard with numerous bands, and he perfected his engineering skills at Harris Institute for the Arts in Toronto before building his own studio in 2000, which currently records and produces top songs for artists. Is that about right,
That's,
Orny?
yes, that's so clear.
The reggae artist known as Steel was a guest on CWS last week. He told us about you, Orny, as one of the most talented musicians and producers he knows. What is it about you and your work that would make him say that?
Repeat the question.
I said, um, Steele was on CWS last week, and
Yes.
he said you're one of the most talented producers he has known, he's met,
Okay, okay.
right? So I was just asking you, what is it about your work that would make him say that?
What is it about my work? First of all, I keep an open mind with anyone that comes here, um, or come to work with me, and I like to listen to what they have to offer to me first. And in so listening, I would discover a little bit of areas where I can polish or kind of brighten it up. The ideas, or if they come with a demo beat, I will say, okay, let's just build on the beat that we have and make it something more unique. I just think it's just a natural thing in me to move. Like something is in me that is moving, and I have to just bring that out through my fingers or by my knowledge of the keyboard, or the drum kit I'm working with, and bring the music to life. That's the role of a producer.
Well, when did you realize you had an aptitude for music?
Pardon?
When did you realize you had an aptitude for music?
When did I realize? Well, again, it started way back as a little boy, just growing up in an area in Guyana called Isla Penitence.
Hmm.
Um, there was a lot of other things I could have like done. I had a family history in athletics. My uncles George Payton and Dennis Payton were great athletes of Guyana. One was into rugby, and at early age I started to be like an athlete. But then realized that this was really my calling. They always notice I'm clapping my hand or hitting some kind of stick together or hitting some kind of tinning cup in the backyard. And in that same area, there was a guy by the name of Camu Williams. Camu, I think he still resides in Guyana. He owned a little steel band that he put up. Just a little steel band means that one bass drum, one guitar pan, one double tenor, and a single tenor. And I always find myself going around that corner and staying there for hours whilst he was doing his little practice. And just staying there all the time and picking up some kind of stick and hitting the percussion till it became annoying to him. Sometimes he would chase me, but I would still come back. And one day he just decided to said, "Come, let me show you something." And I guess one thing lead to another, and I start to play the steel pans from there.
Okay. I want to ask you, shift a little. When you think of someone you remember when you were a 13-year-old boy, the person that still makes you smile in admiration, who comes to mind and why?
Repeat that question.
Who, when you were a little boy at 13, right? Who do you think of today that makes you still smile in admiration when you think of them? Someone you would have met or you would have someone you would have known at 13 years. Who makes you still smile today in admiration?
A lady by the name of Edith Peters. She's now deceased, and she really got me off into formal. She took me actually from the steel band
Hmm.
and introduced me into like formal music. And her attitude, she was like a coordinator of the school, all the music school program, all the music education in all the schools in Georgetown, you would say. But the way she carried herself is like I can still see her, how she, be very strict with everything she did. So she's the one I still always admire. Although she's deceased, I think of her a lot and what she's taught me.
What is the fondest memories you have of your parents?
What's that?
The fondest memories you have of your parents?
Fondest memory of my parents?
Hmm.
My parents?
Yes, your parents. What is the
Oh,
fondest memory?
I had very great memories of my parents. One is still alive, actually. My mom is still alive in Guyana.
Hmm.
But my dad, I had so much. He is the one actually when I was playing in bands, notably Mingle Song Machine, and I had to get up around 10 o'clock to go to work. He would call out to me 9:30, "Ern, it's time to go to work." I said, "Daddy, I'm sleeping." "Ern, it's time to go to work." So that's a memory. He knows what I wanted, and he just wanted to make sure that I was on time for everything.
That's good. That's good. Um, your mother is still alive, and that's a wonderful thing. What story she always tells about you?
She is so proud of me, and she would look on the TV in Guyana and see people who I have done music arrangements for, like people like the Mighty Rebel, Ras Marcus. This was in the Calypso arena when I got into like writing music scores for Calypsonians, and she would feel very proud. looking at those guys sing and would tell me, "Oh, he won, he won, he won. He's this, he's that, he's that." And she just feels proud to know that somebody who I've worked with is on the TV.
Wow.
That cheers her up.
Wow. Who were some of the musicians other than Edith Peters you admired when you were growing up?
Oh, there's quite a few others. Um, Marcus Monroe, when I played with the GDF Frontline, he is also deceased. He was the band's like leader.
Yes.
Yeah, I was a civilian at that time, but still, he treated me like a soldier. Ernie, you gotta come on time, but strict. Like every time the band had to play, he would make sure everybody's in order. That probably came from his army training or whatever like that. Um, Camo Williams, as I mentioned before, he I still give look up a lot to. Um, I had a teacher at Harris Institute for the Arts, Don Garbett.
Hmm.
He said when I went there, he said, "Ernie, why are you don't belong here? You belong in a higher category class." I said, "No, sir. I came with that certificate, but I have to join the Canadian system to get what I gotta get." So he always said, you were very special, and he kind of put me in a corner and then just teach the other side of class because he always think I'm like a higher grade in that particular subject. But there was other subjects that I needed
would you
to
have
excel.
would you consider him to have been a mentor to you?
Mentor to me?
Yes. Would you say he was a mentor?
Um, yes, in a way.
Okay. Okay. And while we're on the topic of mentor, how important is mentorship to you for young people in whatever field? Let's say in your field, music production. How important is to have a mentor?
Um, how important it is to have a mentor. It is very important because what you would find, you would try to copy those persons' styles. For
Hmm.
instance, I'm a big fan of Stevie Wonder's music. Do a lot of listening. Herbie Hancock. When I'm in my pleasure moments, I would listen to those guys and try to find out how did they come up with that progression or the production. Quincy Jones,
Uh-huh.
another one. So I'm always listening and hear what they have to do, so I could take it and transfer it to my own work.
When you visit Guyana these days, Orny, I think you mentioned to me you go frequently,
Yes.
and congratulations on that. What sticks out as vastly different to when you were a little boy?
What? What?
What sticks out as vastly different to when you were a little boy?
Well, I gotta always refer to the music arena because when I go to Guyana, it's more where's the bands playing or
Hmm.
who's singing at the jazz cafe or whatever like that. And there's a big decline I know in Guyana with the standard of what we had before.
Hmm.
To me, when Mingle Song Machine was playing, that's where we had all the big, crowds and the music used to come across really good. But I've been back there recently, and there's no more musicians. There's hardly bands anymore that's playing. I mean, there's musicians, but there's not bands anymore.
Hmm.
People trying to get into the studio, and it's a cost factor. I think one of the problems, though, as you're on that point in Guyana, is the copyright laws in Guyana. There's absolutely no copyright laws that people get paid for their work. You would bring out a song and then or produce a song, and next thing you know, the man on the street is selling it with a push cart. And there's nothing to gain really in Guyana doing music there and trying to
Hmm.
be compensated for your work.
I want to explore this other side of you, in that you've had the benefit of having grown up in Guyana and also Canada, where you produce, currently reside and you produce a lot of good music and so on. You spoke of how music sort of helped to mold you, or attracted you, it was one of the choices, good choices you made, and it helped to transform your life in a lot of ways. Um, and you look at the two countries, having grown up in Guyana up to a certain age and now living in Canada, how have the two countries shaped you?
How does the two
How have
countries?
the two countries shaped you? Well, you mentioned what Guyana did for you in terms of what the music did for you in Guyana. How has Canada shaped you now? Tell us a little bit about that.
That is an interesting question. Um, Ernie, Guyanese, West Indian, multicultural, black.
Hmm.
Um, I have been stuck into doing a lot, 90% of Caribbean music. Caribbean music, um, reggae, soca, um, a little bit of gospel, parang, Trinidad influence. And those are the kind of people that I'm working with.
Hmm.
I haven't met Drake, Justin Bieber, like the big names, Celine Dion, you know, those people I haven't had a chance to meet. I'm
Uh,
into my community, and this is what I do. Caribbean music for Caribbean singers and musicians.
why do you think a lot of these musicians come to you?
That's easy. Um, I guess when they come and they realize that I could add something more to the plate, something extra that they wasn't probably looking for, and they would. It's an internal thing, Selwyn. You come in the door and you come to do something. The vibes that flows through the room.
Hmm.
They might come with one idea,
Right.
intended to sing a song one way, and I would say, Kim, that's not the way. Let's try it this way. And she said, huh, how did you come up with that? Oh, well, if you come up with that, then let's do this. And then we just lead from stage to stage to stage.
So there's a flow then.
Pardon me?
There's a flow then. A
What's
flow.
that?
A flow. There's a flow between you and the musicians.
Oh, yeah, 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 definitely.
One more question about Canada. And you came when 1992,
Yes.
when the
92.
school got some more training and so on. Looking back to when you first arrived to now, what would you say is different?
First of all, if you count it as approximately 20 years,
Yes.
first 7 years coming to Canada, 92 to 2000, I just what I call toe the line.
Hmm.
Had to go to work, factories like everyone else, head out in the snow, do everything that a regular person would come, jump on the minibus or the transportation, doing everything. But I always had this music at the back of my head that at one day I'm going to explore and get bigger into it. So looking at you said what has changed so far?
What is
I don't
different?
see
Yeah.
much. I don't see much change in the way how things are. Unless the climate change is better now. But
Well, all right. Let me try the question another way. Still, sorry, Orny. What has changed in you? What is different about you?
what's different about me over the years is that I welcome new talent. I have a very I'm passionate for new people coming through the studio. A man might say, okay, I don't want to work with this guy because I don't know what he has to bring to the table. Well, no, Ernie wants to hear what you have to bring to the table. You know, there's a guy by the name of Sinister. He came in my studio off key, on key. Now when he comes, it's like I have to listen again to see if he has any errors at all. When he first came, I was teaching him so much how to go about, his notes and stuff. Now he's bringing more ideas to me now.
So is it fair to say that you bring out the best in people? You like to do that.
I try. Yes, yes.
I asked Steele this question, and now I'm going to ask you. With such a busy schedule, when you have time to read, what might you be inclined to pick up? A novel, newspaper, or magazine?
To read.
When you have time, what would you?
When do I have time to read?
Yeah, when you have time to read, what would you more than likely pick up? A novel, a magazine, or a newspaper?
A magazine that tells me about the latest synthesizer that's out.
I like that. I like
I would
that.
download the PDF on my laptop and browse it through and say, oh, the Nord is out, or the clavicard is out, and see what's different. Just try to keep up to date with the technology. It's moving very fast.
I like that. I like that. Know your industry. If you were to go back to when you just arrived, is there anything you would like to change, and what would that be?
Um, Under the circumstances I came, I don't think I would have changed anything. I was a humble person.
Yes.
So in my spare time, I used to be playing freelancing with bands, so it kept me active on the weekends. But no,
Um, what are some of the changes you would like to see in the music industry?
um, in the music industry globally, or are you talking about Canada, Guyana, or
Let's take one that first comes to mind. Let's take Canada.
yes, I would like to Canada to become a little more multicultural friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like the people that get grants, like what they call a loan to record an album or go on a tour or whatever like that. The people that get that money, it's you would be surprised, Selwyn, is people from the Inuit, the folk music. There is not a reggae artist getting that. There's not a soca artist getting that in Canada. There's you have to be something world music, very naked instruments there. You'll be surprised people that plays the banjo gets grant. So I would like them to flex the wings a little bit and you know give things, and let's open up a little more to West Indian culture, and give those people the opportunity to be heard on mainstream radio.
I hear that. I don't want to go to the chat room for a bit. G said, "Good night, Selwyn. My broadcast was interrupted by a message that says this is a paid content. Select an option to continue. What happens next?" I am at a loss about that. Clarence said, "Hi, Selwyn. Looking forward to another night of great conversation." And Clarence said again, "Ernie, I can hear the passion for music in your voice. What are your thoughts on steel pan in Guyana today?"
Very good question. And he might be surprised with the answer. It's good. It's great. I went home the year when they had the Curry Festa because I was the person doing mixing the theme song for the Curry Festa that year, and I was more or less invited home. I got all the passes to go, and there was something called the National School Steel Band that was formed that particular year, and I was so impressed with all of these over 100 players playing in one steel band. So steel band has come a far way, and it's still kicking. My old school multilateral North Rhineville multilateral is still the top band. The tutor or the teacher at that school is still there, Ivan Chatman. He's still, so steel band is really still upkept. Is you know
Let me ask you this question now that you mentioned multilateral school and yeah, the music teacher. Well, seeing that you had this passion for music since back then, which one of the teachers saw most of you in school, Ernie? Was it the music teacher or the other teachers?
Which one that teaches what?
saw the most of you, or got most of your time?
Oh, well, yes, yes, definitely. The music teachers would quickly recognize somebody special. I did other subjects before, but I just always had this passion of it's just a subject. When it comes to music, I figure that that's where my passion is, and I tell you the honest truth, I probably used to scold some of the other classes to end up in the music school, the music auditorium.
Probably, yeah. All right, Arnie, let's take a break.
Okay, no problem.
It was an average day, dull in every way till
The gentleman singing is Carlos Morgan, a singer who will be on the show next week. Guys, listen to this brother's voice.
on that cool September morning, I saw her in the rain. To me she was a movie star to the world. She was just Jane, yeah, but she's everything to me. She's just Jane, and she's all I ever need. She gives more than she takes, and she takes my breath away. Oh yeah. In the world's eyes, she'll always be just Jane. But because of her, my world has changed. Yes, it has. I tried to catch her eye as she was walking by first. At first she seemed confused. I saw she wasn't sure. My smile was meant for her. I find it very special. Don't slip away. So tell me what your name is. She and she's all I let.
We are back with Ernie Trelfall. Ernie, how many of the artists you work with are able to match live when what they've done in the studio?
How many artists?
That you work with are able to match live, like Steel, what they do in the studio?
How many of them?
Yes.
Well, there's quite a few. Still, definitely, there's another guy by the name of Blessed, Esco Levi, uh, Kim Davis, and I mentioned those four because they were all either they won the Junos, which is Canada's version of the Grammys, or was nominated. And Steele was nominated at least 6 or 7 times. Kim Davis also was nominated twice. But Blessed and Esco Levi, who I worked with extendedly, they went on to win the Junos.
Arnie, I asked this question because I'm just curious. What is it like? I mean, tell us, what is it like as a producer when one of your artists or an artist that you worked with got nominated or even win the Juno? What is that like? What does that feel like?
Yeah, Selwyn, in a song or a production, when people listen to a recording, they see what or hear what's the final output. Um, but the work behind that is so it's so much things that goes in behind before that actual song is produced
Hmm.
are set out there. So to go back to what you were asking, um, it takes, I don't know, you listen to what they have to offer and try to bring it out bigger. Like Steel might sing a song a certain way, and I would say, Steel, stop. Why not try this way? You know. So it's just working with an artist and trying to better them. The role of a producer is to make sure that final output or the final production is well put over at the best of their ability.
The joy that some producers feel when, or a publisher feel when an author book gets on the best-selling list. A producer feels when, it is in America, an artist wins the Grammy or so on. How do you feel? What is that like? Do you celebrate? You get excited, happy when one of your artists
Aesthetic,
wins?
aesthetic is very. I feel very very good about it. Very good. I hear when I listen to radio a lot sometimes in my car and I hear my productions being played on the radio. I feel very very good about it.
Who are some female vocalists both in the U.S. and Canada that you admire?
Female vocalists.
Yes.
Um, there's a girl by the name of Miss Page.
Hmm.
I've known her quite a while. She's probably the most upcoming artist. I would rate her a lot and thinks that she's on her way really to stardom. Probably she's going to win a Juno one day. Definitely Kim Davis. Um, and then we go back to my very good friend who comes here quite often, a girl by the name of Rita Fraser. She too is plugging away at the industry and she's going to be there on top very, very soon. We got some beautiful songs to be released in the near future. I've worked with the late Pamela Maynard. I actually have a record in my computer for Pam that is actually selling 75% finish, and I don't know how we're gonna achieve the other 25% to complete it, but we're gonna try. Me and my buddy was gonna try to do something with that. So Pamela Maynard, and then it would take me back to Guyana, working with people like Delma Lynch, Zarina Ali,
Mm.
um, Big Red. Um, I think Sid Hooper. Yeah, that's another one I worked with. Um, and I've worked with a Guyanese girl that's actually in Jamaica, doing well in Jamaica now, called actually forgot her name right now, but she's into the reggae business right now. Did a song called "We Should Separate." Tamika Marshall. Tamika Marshall is her name. I produced her first single, a song called "We Should Separate," and she's doing well in Jamaica right now. So those are probably the prime female artists I've worked with.
Do you have a particular sound, Ernie?
A particular
Sound.
sound.
Sound, yes. Do you have a signature sound?
Whew. I try not to.
Uh huh.
I try not to let all my songs sound the same.
Okay.
I might be the wrong person you were asking that question, but people out there would know when a certain producer produces a song. But up to now, I haven't heard, "Oh, Ernie, all your songs sung one way." No.
Right.
So I explore a lot of samples and synth tones. I don't want all the songs sound the same, not even close.
In the chat room, Faye asked, "Is studio time very expensive?"
I won't no. I won't consider that expensive for what you're getting for studio time.
Uh huh. You know, for those who are on a budget and want to produce a song, what would be the major reasons to go into a professional studio over a home recording setup?
Well, the major reasons being budget first of all. Are you coming to the studio to do a demo, or are you coming to get something to play on mainstream radio? There's a difference with community radio and mainstream radio. And so you want your song to be recorded at a very high sample rate. And now there's 32-bit float sample rate. I don't know, these terms might be a little, unknown to people, but 32-bit float actually means the sample is so rich that when it gets out there, it sounds very, very close and very powerful to the ear.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to come to a professional studio where you have a proper microphone setup, a proper built soundproof studio. You don't want to be standing right next to me in a recording. I've seen studios, a man come and stand up right next to the other one because they have a computer they can record. But you need an enclosed environment, a soundproof environment that can cut down the noise and produce a nice vocal take.
Okay. I want to go back to the steel pan because every time I mention that word, you smile a lot, Orny, and
Yes.
it's close to my heart as well. Have you ever done any song with steel pan music in it, or do you plan to do that at any time?
At the at my later years in Bitcoin Invaders, I actually was an arranger, but I didn't arrange like the test pieces or the big pieces. But like if we had a commercial song, let's just do Michael Jackson Off the Wall or some kind of do the bus stop. I would be the person in charge of doing the sequencing or the programming for the sections. On my later years, I became a music teacher also at Bishop's High School and
You
St.
did?
Rose's. Yeah, and I taught the steel pans there. So I was in charge of the whole any class that comes in and actually teaching them songs and how to roll and coordination and timing and not to hit the pan too hard. You know. So
What is one of your one of your favorite pan pieces, Orny, that you have played or you like to play?
um so that I like would have been it's a patriotic Guyanese song. It's called um Guyana, I want to serve my country. So we would do that song, but the amount of variations we would put in in the arrangements,
Yes.
you know, that's how Pan plays. They would play the song, you would be hearing the song, but you would hear all these little things behind it. But it's the same song you were hearing, the arrangements. So that was one of my favorite test pieces, and I played that for about 3 years in different bands as test pieces for the competition.
Have you ever arranged a song, a steel pan song?
Numerous times, numerous times, numerous
Or
times.
let me ask this. This is my fault. Have you ever composed one?
Originally, yes, yes.
Really?
I've got pieces that just came to my mind, and I laid it down for steel pan, and ultimately let the band play. Yes.
Chat room, Karen G says, "Huh? I miss that at Roses. I played, but with Mr. Williams." Um, Orny,
Who's that?
Karen G says, "Huh? I missed that at Roses. I played, but with Mr. Williams." I think Karen is referring to when you taught at Roses.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
You remember Mr. Williams, or he would have left by time?
Williams, the guy that I was coordinating there was a guy named Rush, Sir Rushefell, I think.
Oh, and Clarence said, "I grew up near Chronicle Pan Yard." Well, both of us, Clarence. Which orchestra do you consider to be top today in Guyana?
Which orchestra?
Yes.
The top orchestra in Guyana right now, the Steel Band Orchestra.
Yeah. Yes, Ernie. Are you leaning towards Chronicle?
I think the top orchestra is the person who wins the annual Mashramani Steel Band competition. I think the Police Band won it last year, so they probably is the top. But I know Multilateral School Band in the Steel Band in the school band category is still tops. I don't ever think they was ever dethroned.
Okay. I'm gonna let Clarence come back with a follow-up question on that. I have to be impartial here. Karen G said Mr. Williams was our instructor for Steel Pan. Ernie, what could great sounding recording do for an artist's career?
Great sounding.
Recording. What can it do for an artist's career?
What can I do for an artist?
No. Let me rephrase that. What can a great sounding recording do for an artist's career? Is it very helpful when a recording is, you have a great sounding recording?
Okay, you said what can it do for an artist's career?
Right.
Oh, what can it do for an artist? Well, it's so important that they record it well, so that they get contracts and deals signed by some company who would take them up and have them perform at shows and give them a recording contract to bigger things. So it's important that once you come to the studio, you get your song recorded properly. If it's that.
Ernie, there's a song Steel sang called Slave Driver. Yeah, Slave Driver, which
Yes.
I am madly in love with.
Mm-hmm.
I think he mentioned or he said that you produced it or you had something to do with it. There's
Yes.
a flute in that song which Steele said that you were instrumental, no pun intended, you were instrumental in including. Tell us tonight why the flute?
Slave Driver was done originally by Bob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
But, Selwyn, I never knew that. That was after I produced my version of it. So I guess that was Steele was amazed with, that I could take something and change the chord structure and change the pattern. I think it's a very unique pattern and it has a unique beat. It puts you in a mood, what we call the Nyabingi beat. The boop, 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 right? And I was playing some really nice chords around that. I never knew the song before. And it's after he told me, that was a Bob Marley song you did over? I said, I wasn't aware. I just like it and this is what I came up with.
I just wanna play it for a bit so that the audience can hear what we're talking about.
Table is turned. Catch a fire, you can get burned. Slave driver, table is turned. Catch a fire, you're gonna get burned. Every time I hear a crack of a whip, my blood runs cold. I remember on the slave ship how they brutalized our soul. Today they say we're free, only to be chained in poverty. Good God, it it's illiteracy. Only a machine make money. Slave driver, table is turned. Catch a fire so you can get burned. Slave driver.
I have to ask you this, and thanks for allowing me that indulgence. What do you like most about being Guyanese?
What?
What do you like most about being Guyanese?
Oh, what do I like most about being Guyanese?
Well, let me take out the word most. What do you like about being Guyanese? Period.
I love being Guyanese, but in the music field, I like the fact that people would come in here and I produce a soca song and they think I'm from Trinidad. Or a reggae man come in here and I produce a reggae song and they think I'm from Jamaica. And then I say, I'm Guyanese. So I like the fact that I'm able to do those styles of music, in a good way.
Who are some artists in Canada or some artists here that you would like to work with?
Definitely Drake.
Really?
Definitely.
Why is that?
Drake right now is probably number one, number two, number three rapper, best rapper in the world. But I like, if you listen to Drake, the way how he maneuvers his voice while he raps. If you listen to him, he's got so much swag, they call it. So he changes up his voice a lot, and I would be amazed if he said, Ernie, here, I'm going to give you a song to work with. I'd be appalled to work with him.
Well, let's put it out there then. How has the industry changed since the introduction of MP3s?
That question, MP3 has allowed the digital shipment, or what they call, a song could be done in the studio now, and I encode it to MP3, and Selwyn, you could have it in a matter of two minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So MP3, by converting it to MP3, and there's different quality of MP3. So be careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
MP3 hitting at 120 kbs is not the same quality as one at 320. So MP3s are very high quality also. So, but it allows a quick transformation of the files worldwide, and can go through the internet, uploaded to your site and stuff like that. So MP3, it's nice.
Are you at liberty to tell us about your current project? Is there one?
There's quite a few. We're in the middle of what they call something called the Trinidadian folk or parang music.
Mm-hmm.
I've just finished 2, and tomorrow I'm working on the 3rd parang song. I'm also involved for the next 5 weeks playing live with a band. For parang artists coming, the Baron from Trinidad, Kenny J, Charlene Flores. This is all popular parang crazy. They're all coming to Toronto, and I'm part of the band that's gonna back them.
What do you play? What do you play?
Pardon?
What do you play?
I play synthesizer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do
So I'm
you,
part of the band that's gonna back these artists. Some, that's current, and lots of other projects. Arita has a very nice song soon to be released, and Jomo, a guy who I've recently started working with for the last 3 years, I would say. We've put out some really good stuff. He's like the current singer, the lead singer for Byron Lee, and we're working on some really nice songs.
do you have a
He discovered me, by the way.
really?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, he comes to Toronto a lot.
Uh-huh.
because so he travels, and I guess the same Guyanese thing, you know. I guess he came to my studio one time, realized, oh, this is what goes on, and then you know, when I produced the beat for him, he was happy. So ever since that first recording, I think he always says, Ernie, when I come there, we gotta do stuff. When I come there, we gotta do stuff. Most of his recent stuff was done by me.
You think this was a Guyanese connection?
I think so. I think so. And it's a heavy, heavy artillery that's coming. 2014, we have a big, 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 big tune to hit the road. Soca crossover. It's gonna hit Trinidad. It's gonna hit Guyana, you know, and hit the Caribbean very hard. I'm putting so much work into that particular song.
You have to send us a copy, Ernie.
Pardon me?
You have to send us a copy.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. You won't have problems because it would be such a big song that people are gonna want it. But again, it would be the Guyanese thing. You know, we hitting out hard for 2014.
That's good. Tell us a bit about your producing process, and when do you get your best inspiration? Early in the morning, late at night, during the day.
That is that is a very, very good question. And not only do I produce, remember it's a business for me. So for instance, if a man comes for book studio time, I now have to concentrate, okay, he's doing studio time. But if I'm to sit down and program a song from scratch, where I have to build a beat and think about the synth lines, all that, there is no specific time that I could any time goes. Like I could be 3 a.m. in the morning and ID come to me, and you know, my studio is where I live right now. So it's easy to get downstairs and lay down that ID.
What,
You know, but
so
the
what is
process,
it? Sorry, Ernie. Go ahead.
the process starts from basically the beat. The beat. What's your target? Are you targeting one drop beat, or are you talking an up tempo beat? You as the producer must be able to dance to that particular beat, what they call the drum beat. So the process would be laying down the drum pattern first, and then you throw on the bass. Those two, the drum and the bass. A lot of people like to say drum and bass. Once your drum and bass set power, every other synthesizer or guitar that you put in there, and ultimately the vocals, is gonna fall into place.
What is your typical work schedule like?
Pardon?
What is your typical work schedule like?
There's no particular work schedule with me. I can be up here 7 a.m. in the morning, or 3 a.m., 11 p.m. But at some point I gotta rest my head. So
Talking about that, when you feel burnt out, or you don't feel like working or doing what has to be done, and we do have that. We are humans. Who pushes you?
who what?
Who pushes you when you don't feel like making that next step? When you feel burnt out, really exhausted? Who inspires you to get up and do what you got to do?
Just listening to some piece of music again.
Music.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, just listening. My ears always gotta, you know, if I log on the website and I hear a particular piece of music, that again, it would say, wow, listen to this piece. And you know, it just keeps you. But I seldom get bored with music. I don't, it's actually something that's been keeping me going all the time. I can't recall a time where I get bored of music at all.
Are there any trends in the industry that you embrace, or you would rather not have emerged?
There's a few artists that I've done stuff for that I won't welcome them back here for different reasons.
Okay. How did you come up with the name "Now Is the Time" by Mandy Woods?
Oh, now is the time. Well, I didn't come up with that name.
Hmm.
She's actually a terrific singer. Um, that's a song that was part of my rhythm driven project where I create a beat and then there's numerous artists on that same beat. So it's called a rhythm. And Mandy came in and she laid down that particular song. Now is the time, but it's a very very nice song. I brought out the best in Mandy for that song. I give her props. She came up with the name, not me.
What what kind of artists do you prefer to work with, or you don't have a kind?
Um, the kind of artist I like to work with is an artist where who shares ideas. Don't
Uh,
just take what Ernie has to say. I like an artist to say, "Why do you want to do it like that, Ernie? Let's try this way." And I would just prove to them that oh, we shouldn't do it this way. Or I like the back, and that's why I love Steele. Steele is a musician just like me, also, by the way. So we would fight all night as to how the song would go down. At the end of the day, you know, comes up with the best possible production.
before I go to the next question in the chat room, Karen G said, "Love Parang and Jomo is good." Um, what can you tell us about you, Ernie, that most people do not know and would surprise them?
Ernie is very, 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 very quiet, behind the scenes person.
Hmm.
Very, I ever since playing in bands, I being a keyboard player, you're at the back, but then you're still the meat of the music. I'm not somebody who would have liked to push myself up to the front. I then became a singer, so that's a very quiet, humble individual, and I've learned some life lessons. Still learning a lot of interesting lessons about life.
Have you ever had a project, someone comes into your studio and you felt that you might not be able to do this project or do this song? Uh, or let me try it another way. What does a serious challenge look like to you?
Good. I had a group from Ecuador came to my studio once, and they says today we're going to be doing Latin music, and I said, oh. So you're a producer, right? So we're gonna produce some Latin music. And right off the bat, I got to turn them back and said, I don't think I can do that style of music. But I was challenged, and they helped me along the way, and we came up with a very good project.
I like that. I like that. What can you tell us about Steele that he might not have told us? You mentioned one just now that you guys go at it with each other and usually come up with something very, very good. What else can you tell us about Steele that he has not told us?
Steele is Mr. Energy on stage.
Hmm.
Seeing Steele live, Steele draws you to him. Steele is an interactive artist. If you look at Steele on stage, the way he performs the songs, his emotion into it, his body movements, he brings the passion when he's live and singing live. People need to have a Steele and see Steele live, and then they will really realize. I've went to numerous concerts. It's the same person I see all the time.
You did Let's Stay Together.
Yes, yes.
What was it like working with him on that?
Selwyn, stuff like "Let's Stay Together" or "She Believes in Me," those are songs that was already done. So it's a remake.
Right.
Um, for me to do a remake, it's very easy because the chord structure is there.
Okay.
It's just to put the groove to the beat. So, the chord structure was there, and to me, that's it. It doesn't really take much effort because it's something that was there before, and I just had to enhance it in a reggae style or something.
What still surprises you about yourself, Orny?
Was that?
What still surprises you about yourself?
Actually, I have no surprises. You know, everything I pray for and believed in
Uh huh.
has pretty much happened. And you know, it might take a little while, but and it continues. The struggle continues again. I'm still praying for stuff, and you know, but the ultimate goal. I've never seen anything that really eluded me in life because the love again for the music, and I always talk about that more than anything else. In my quiet times or my dung times, I would come and put on the keyboard and try to play some kind of little pattern. So nothing really I've been sad for, you know, too long.
No, well, let me rephrase the question. I think I might have confused you. Um, what I mean is there anything about your ability, about um, what you're able to accomplish from time to time that still surprises you about yourself? You know, like let's say you're a soccer player, and one day you scored a goal that just seemed impossible from an angle that you know you could never have made it. What still surprises you about your musical ability or your music skills?
Again, there's what I set out to do, Selwyn. I've always achieved. You know, it's not a surprise. Um, Before a song is let go out of the studio, I listen it in my car. I listen it upstairs in my bedroom. I listen it on my different speakers I have here on the internet. So whatever I set out to put out, you know, I actually come up with. You know, what I said that my goal, I've actually come up with that. Long term might take me a while, but so there's no really surprises.
That's good. In the chat room, Faye asked, how would you describe your work ethic?
Very good.
Very good. Karen G asked, which artists would you like to work with that are on your wish list and why?
Artist that is what?
Which artists would you like to work with that are on your wish list and why?
Oh yeah. Well, I mentioned Drake before. Um, it would be a challenge to work with him. Um, Definitely, there's a singer by the name of Chronix from Jamaica.
Chronics?
Very close to be doing something for him, as he's pretty. You know, he's doing some really good stuff in the industry right now.
How do you find these artists? Do they find you, or do you have a process? How do you find them? How is that connection made?
Well, living in Toronto, they would come. These artists would come for shows, and some promoter would bring them to cut some kind of dub plate, and they would end up in Ernie's studio. And after ending up like Egyptian, when I met Egyptian, he was there for to just cut a dub plate, and then the guy, the promoter of the show said, "Hey, here's a producer right here. Let's work on something," and that's how I got to work with a song with Egyptian. So it's on the basis of their passing through Toronto and ending up in my studio and realizing, hey, we got somebody who could actually, you know, do the stuff here.
Okay. The chat room, Karen G said, well, asked rather, would you advise artists to learn, or artists to learn the business more as it contributes to their success and longevity? Would you advise them to learn the business?
Yes, 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 yes.
Let's
Yeah,
take.
the business of music is that's the thing right there. People need to understand what they're getting into. Um, that's why you find some major artists, notably like Tony Braxton. They might seem like if they're on stage and doing all these multi-million-dollar shows or whatever, but it's not necessarily that they're receiving that check at the end of the day. So they need to learn the business know what they're getting into, know where their percentage lies. Instead of coming to people like me and I said, okay, come sing for me and I take everything, they need to know what they're getting into. And I always try to advise them, where do you want to go with this? Do you want shared, or do you want to just pay me off or something like that? They need to know exactly. They need to learn the business indeed.
Do you how often do you get to play the pan?
Play the steel pan.
Yes.
I haven't played the steel pan in 7 years. But Selwyn, that doesn't mean I cannot play. I don't get to play often, but every time I pick up a stick to play a pan, the touch is what's important. And once I could hit that pan and have a touch, it just takes me about 5 minutes to figure out what I need to do.
Let's take a short break.
How do you feel? I've been thinking about you, baby. I've been wondering how you must be doing without me, yeah. I understand how hard it could be when we're not together. I appreciate the support you give to me. That's why I called to say I can be all you want in me. I'll be the ones of your fantasy, and whatever that you need, you could ask of me. I will try to give you all that's in my life. I'll wipe away the tears from your eyes. You're forever in my heart. So please stay sweet as you are. I'm on the road, I meet many people, but none of them compares to the lady I got waiting for me with open arms and home. And never forget the love that we share. It's a special one. I know I've been heaven blessed. You're my angel from above. And I live for your love. I can be all alone in me. I'll be the ones of your fantasy.
Here we are. Arnie, what would you say is one of the best songs you have produced, or one that you're most proud of? I don't know if that's a fair question to ask a producer, but
I think it is "Show Me the Way" by Kim Davis.
show me the way.
Yes, "Show Me the Way." That's when she got nominated for her Juno. Kim Davis is an extraordinary singer, and she brought that particular beat to life.
Tell me
So
what comes to mind when you hear these artist names. Um, Esco Levy, Steel,
Levi, yes,
Levi, right? Sorry, Esco Levi,
uh,
Steel, and Kim Davis.
I'm just happy to work. Had them to work with. I know they're on their way to big things, but I'm happy to know that they passed through my hands and still work with me.
Mhm.
These are people that respect me, and if they're gonna do their album, then they're gonna say, "Ernie, here's a song, here's two songs to do." They might be working with other producers also, but I don't think they'll forget me, and because you had a really good marriage happening.
Do you, Carol in the chat room said, do you have a favorite style of music?
Style.
Yes, do you have a favorite style of music?
Right now at age at somebody heading towards half a century, yes, contemporary jazz. Contemporary jazz right now is my choice.
Who are you listening to these days?
Any instrumentalist who picks up their saxophone or their piano
Uh huh.
and improvises on it.
Karen G in the chat room said, Caribbean Caribbean artists, how do they work on developing their public persona to be more marketable so as to represent products, etc., and increase their income? Is there specific training?
Repeat that.
Caribbean artists, how do they work on developing their public persona to be more marketable so as to represent products, etc., and increase their income? Is there specific training?
Not really. Just work at what you know best. Be the best you could be. Come to people like myself or somebody who's reputable in the industry to produce something really good, to go to the big companies and hand them the package, and next thing you know, you're going to be signed. But it's typical hard work.
If you were to put a CD together of mixed artists, who are some names that come to mind?
Who are some of the artists?
If you were to put a CD together with mixed artists, who are some names that come to mind right away?
Well, everybody that I've worked with. So definitely Steel. He's probably my major product, and all the others that we've mentioned.
Hmm. I asked Steele this question, and it stumped him, or so he said. And I'm gonna ask it. I'm gonna ask you this same question. If you had the chance to go back in time, what would you tell your 13-year-old self?
At a very early age, try to pinpoint something you love and work hard towards achieving your goals at that age, as early as 7 or 8 years old. Try to focus. We look at the TV now, we see some Japanese children playing piano at a very age 5 and 4. They've already know what they want to become. So yes, at an early age, decide what you want to get into and work to achieving that goal.
Is there any type of music you mentioned just now? Some musicians from Ecuador visited you and you hesitated, but you learned from the experience. You rose to the occasion. But is there any style of song, any style of music that you would stay away from?
Any style of music that I would
Stay away from, would avoid.
stay away from? Not at all. None, none, none. It's always a challenge for me, Selvin, to tackle these kind of whether you come in with punk rock
Hmm.
or dance, or I am so open to be working with those styles.
What do you do for?
So
Sorry.
I won't stay away from any. I will welcome all and try to do them to the best of my ability. Not staying away from anything.
What was the name of that big band you mentioned earlier in the program in Guyana that you said was very? I think you played with them. Not the Steel Band, not Bitco. Um, Another band that you mentioned. The music was very good, and it drew a crowd and so on. I forgot the name
Steel
of
band?
it. No, not
Yeah,
Steel Band.
the National Steel Orchestra. I think they're functioning
No, no,
in
not
the
that. Not that. I think it was a. I forgot the name of the band.
Mingle Song Machine.
Mingle Song Machine. You played with them?
Yes, yes. I'm the original keyboard and keyboard slash drum machine programmer for that band. That is the band that was brought me to Canada first and toured quite a few other countries with them.
What was it? What was it? What did you enjoy most about playing with them?
We had a family. We
Ah,
had a family, all a group of guys, because we sleep together, we fetched equipment together, we did every eat, sleep together. We had a family together with the leader Mike Fong. We gelled together as a group. We would play soccer in our spare time on tour. And I think that's it's like the West Indies cricket team or any cricket team that's touring. They gel and that was the fun part. So the memory is everlasting.
and when you say that, I think of the term or the theme working together and how important that is in producing something that's excellent. How important is that to you in what you do?
How important is
Working together.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is very, very important. Very important working together. Open, always open and be open in the music environment. We never try to think that our way is the best way. We need to listen to what somebody else has to offer. Probably record it. Let them hear what songs like, and then you record your part and let them hear what songs like, and then whoever else is in the team, we all make a collective agreement as to this is the take we're going to use. So it's very important to work closely and share all the ideas we have before deciding on something.
Karen G said, I worked for the labels and I have found artist development and presentation are important. Just a thought going forward so they can win more worldwide appeal and household names. Maybe you can start. You can start. Karen, did you finish? Anyway, Karen, I'm not sure what the last sentence means. Maybe you can start. But in the meanwhile, Steele, okay. She said maybe you can start the artist development project. What do you think about that, Ernie?
Start which project?
She mentioned that she worked with labels and I found that artist development and presentation are important.
Yes.
And it's just a thought so that they can win more worldwide appeal and household names. So her suggestion, maybe you can start the artist development project. What do you think about that?
Artist development project. One of the things I like about what I do, I'm practically involved in the actual producing of the music. The artist management and all of that stuff, it's very important, but I am more involved in actually the production of the project. So you might get my input to the artist management, but I don't want to be the spearhead. I am more a very practical guy, sitting behind these equipment and hitting and hearing songs and playing stuff. So that's my thing.
What do you like to do for fun, Ernie?
Where do I like to?
What do you like to do for fun?
Um, Travel.
Really?
I like to travel and see different places, experience, different cultures. Um, I'm not a big movie goer or anything like that, but watch a movie ever so often.
Uh-huh. So what's next for Ernie Trelfall?
More music, I'm pretty excited on the projects I have on my hand now. I mentioned the song with Jomo and also a Rita Fraser to come out very soon. I keep Selwyn trying to be the best I could be. I think my best days are still ahead. You mentioned the guy Drake. One day you might hear a song produced by Ernie from Drake. I'm plugging away. I know I'm in a multicultural society where it's hard sometimes, being a person, with color to go out there and actually making it instantly. But if you're as good as if you dig deep and you try to get the best out of yourself, it can happen.
A question that I ask all my guests. What makes you laugh out loud?
What makes me
Laugh out loud.
talk out loud,
Laugh out loud.
laugh out loud?
Yes, Ernie.
I just did. Doing what I'm doing for a living, doing something that I love, and it's not a strain to me. It's not it's just something naturally that I have in within me, and I'm making a living out of that. That makes me very, very, very happy. Whether I make $1 or $1 million, the fact that I'm doing music, that makes me laugh out very, very, very loud.
I would be remiss if I don't mention this, Ernie. One of my very good friends, Carl, very good friend, taught you
Oh,
in high school.
yes.
What would he say to you today? Do you believe? Or did you used to skip his class? You're
I
live,
used
Ernie. The whole
a lot
world
of people
is.
class. I'm sure Carl here got scarred. This class was one of them. And he knew where I was when I skipped this class. So they know where to find me.
Where was that, Ernie?
In the music room, of course.
Okay. Thank you. But before you go, can you give us a few words of wisdom, a few words of advice, especially for young people that might be listening to the program?
Yes, and I like the topic you've used, commitment and dedication. Stay committed and believe in yourself. Um, the world is for everybody. Focus on what makes you happy, what you want to achieve in life, and nothing is impossible. Just hard work and dedication. The topic of my being on this program here. Stick to what you know, work hard at it, and you can achieve it.
Arnie, I really appreciate you coming on and thank you. I had fun, and so it was really enjoyable.
Thank
Now,
you very much.
you're quite welcome. I just want to close I want to go back to close with what I started the program with, and that is about being free. And I asked in the beginning, do you feel free? And I'm going to ask these questions. What do you need to be free? Will you take your freedom if you got what you needed to be free? And with that, I say good night and thank you all for tuning in.
Bye.
Good night, Ernie.
Good night.
I fumble with a melody or two, and I'm torn between the things I should do. Oh, yeah.
stay, girl, in every way until the sun broke through. It wasn't in the sky, no. The light came from her eyes. She turned the gray sky blue. On that cool September morning, I saw her in the rain. To me, she was a movie star to the world. She was just Jane, yeah, but she's everything to me. She's just Jane, yeah, and she's all I'll ever need. She gives more than she takes, and she takes my breath away. Oh yeah, in the world's eyes, she'll always be just Jane. But because of her, my world has changed. Yes, it has. I tried to catch her eye as she was walking by first. At first she seemed confused. I saw she wasn't sure. My smile was meant for her. I said, I can't help notice you. And when you find that someone special, you don't let them slip away. So tell me what your name is. She answered by saying just Jane. Oh, oh, oh. She's just Jane. Oh, oh, oh. And she's all I'll ever need. She gives more than she takes, and she takes my breath away.
Baby, I'm not gonna wait no more. You know that I love you, so this is what I gotta say.
I've been really trying, baby, trying to hold back this feeling for so long. And if you feel like I feel, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hey, let's get it on. Let's get it on. Let's get it on.